I'm now joined by Anna Holland from Just Stop Oil. Now, you very probably are familiar with Anna because last year, there she is. You can see her if you're watching. If you're not, I'll describe it. She's throwing tomato soup over Vincent van Gogh's sunflowers at the National Gallery in London. And she joins me on the programme. Hello, Anna. Thanks for joining us. So you see there a rather disgruntled, rather fed up snooker player who, you know, that's his job, that's his profession, it's his passion, it's his career. The whole thing had to be abandoned because of the Just Stop Oil protest. How do you feel when you hear what he had to say?
Well, hi, Vanessa. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm Anna. And aside from being one of the young people who threw tomato soup at Van Gogh sunflowers, I'm a 21-year-old university student. And I first became a supporter of Just Stop Oil when I realised, just like thousands of people across the country, that our unelected government cares more about the exploitation of fossil fuels than they do about the lives of every single one of us. And I would also like to say that I completely agree with what Joe was saying, with everything that he was saying. I wish there was another way that we could get the government to listen to us and that we could raise awareness about the dire situation that we are heading towards. But unfortunately, we have tried every other method of raising awareness. We've tried going on protests, we've tried signing petitions, we've tried targeting the fossil fuel industry and the government, and unfortunately, none of it has worked. The only thing that allows us to break through into mainstream conversation is by disrupting public events like the snooker game.
But so far, do you think any of your protests, including the throwing of the soup, including the gluing of human beings to motorways and bridges, including protests in the House of Commons and all the other events and public services that have been disrupted, have they actually borne fruit? Has anything changed? Do you feel that you're making any kind of inroads with all of this? Is it working?
Oh, definitely. So just in last year, every single political party, apart from the Conservatives, adopted our demand of no new oil and gas in their political manifestos. The entire Scottish government has said that there will be no new oil and gas. So we are absolutely breaking through. It is just the Conservatives who are still choosing to put their own personal wealth over the safety of every single one of us.
Well, what do you mean? First of all, you've called them an unelected government. I'm not certain what you mean by that. Secondly, you've talked about their own personal wealth being prioritised. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so Rishi Sunak, our current Prime Minister, was voted in by none of us. I didn't vote for him. I'm sure you didn't yourself, Vanessa, because in fact, only 202 people voted for Rishi Sunak to become our Prime Minister. And that is roughly 0.0003% of the UK population.
And yet the Conservative Party was elected to government by a considerable majority, wasn't it?
Well, yes, I grant you that. But Rishi Sunak, our Prime Minister, wasn't voted
So we
in
have
by any of us.
elected a fairly and equitably elected government. You may not be keen on the Prime Minister, but we certainly have a government that was democratically elected, don't we?
In addition to that, last year, the Conservative government received £3.5 million in donations from fossil fuel lobbyists and climate deniers. So they are clearly putting their own vested interest in the fossil fuel industry above the lives of all of us.
Anna, thank you very much indeed. It's good to have you on the programme, and I'm glad that you feel that you're making progress. Thank you very much indeed. Do keep getting in touch. I'm on 0344 499 1000, coming up after the break.